Hey guys, it's Maddie and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to discuss how I'm healing my relationship with food, specifically like binge eating and restrictive eating, that cycle, and how I'm starting to become more aware of it and kind of overcome it and like recover, I guess, because it was getting pretty out of hand for a while there, and I'll get to this eventually, but it was controlling me up until about like a month, no, maybe a little longer than that. Like 3 months ago is when it was really, really bad, I want to say, maybe a little bit later than that, but it was not good controlling me, controlling my evenings, especially because I was like a late night snacker. But we're gonna get into that. I have my notebook, my handy little notebook here that I'm going to be like referring to because I have some notes written down. I have a coffee that I'm gonna be sipping on. And I guess we'll just get right into this. So growing up, we're going way back, by the way. So growing up, I never really had like a super healthy relationship with my body image specifically. Food was like a part of it, but I never focused on the food. I focused on my body and how I looked, not what I was really putting into my body. So I guess at the beginning I tried to outwork a bad diet, which, you can't really do that. So growing up, I had like super thin friends, and I was like the heavier friend, like the fat friend, which I was never fat. Like, I'm not skinny. I don't get a six pack. I'm not ripped or anything, but I'm not fat. But it's just comparatively to my friends, I was fat because they were very, very slim. And that always really stuck with me and let it get to me. And I thought that I needed to work out, exercise. I just didn't have a good, healthy relationship with my body and how I looked and how I felt about myself. So being younger, I remember way, way back, for more like ethical reasons and also health reasons, I tried to go vegetarian. I think I was probably like 12, maybe, yeah, probably around 12, maybe a little bit older than that. That's when like Freely the Banana Girl was like super popular, if anybody remembers her. And like PETA was really prevalent in the news as well and in the media, so they were out there, and I just thought, well, if I go vegetarian or vegan, then that's healthy and that's what I need to do because that's what I was consuming and the outside world told me I needed to do. And like you saw all these healthy vegetarians and vegans who were super skinny, and that's what I wanted to be, so I thought I needed to do that in order to get there. It did not last long. Like, that maybe lasted like 2 days until I accidentally ate an egg or ate a hamburger, and then it just never stuck. It never stuck with me. That is like a very clear and consistent factor in my life. I don't stick with things. They kind of just die off and I move on. I don't follow through with a lot. They don't become habits. They kind of just are little blips on my radar, blips on my journey. And I also grew up with parents who from my perspective, had a very good relationship with food. There was always like, to my left, I can see chocolate covered almonds. We always had like little snack, like candies and chocolates around the house that like my mom and dad would pick at every now and then. We always had chips in the cupboard. My family wasn't super health nut food crazy. Like, we had your average, like, I think we probably had a little more than your average household, like more chips and candies and snacks and granola bars and stuff like that. We were always a very snacky house, I would say. So they're easy and convenient, and that's what I would go to. I remember being, I want to say grade 8. It was before, no, yeah, maybe right around grade 8, grade 7, 8. I would come home after school, park myself on the couch, turn on the TV, and sit there with a bag of chips and like eat the bag of chips, as many as I wanted, as few as I wanted. Sometimes I'd throw in a little pop in there. Usually it was like milk, but that's what I would do. I'd sit there. That's how I relaxed. That's how I decompressed after school, and how I did my self-care was with that bag of chips. And I kind of forgot about that until literally right now. Like, I don't have that written down. Or I would do it with like chocolate or something like that. Like I would sit there and watch my show and eat. And then later on, that happened in high school too. I would get high at night, smoke weed, get high, and then I would lay in bed. I would eat, bring up my snacks with me, sneak my snacks upstairs to my bedroom so my parents didn't see and didn't like kind of question it or whatever. Sneak my snacks up to my bedroom, get high, watch my TV show, and eat at the end of the night until I would pass out. And my stomach would hurt. I wasn't aware of what I was eating. It was just like the motion. It didn't really matter what it was. I would take whole jars of peanut butter up to my room and eat apples, like dip the apples in the jar of peanut butter. So that's that. And this is just how it would go. So that's when my binge eating was at its peak. But then on the other hand, I would restrict myself for about a week at a time, I would say. And then my binges would last for like 2-3 months more so. And not like every single day, but most days of the month. And restricting, I would say no sugar, no whatever, this, like follow very specific guidelines for myself. And I would calorie count. I would do all the things. I would be exercising, I'd be tracking everything I'm eating, everything I'm doing, every movement, making sure my Apple Watch is always on. This was before Apple Watches, but still tracking everything. And super strict. I would go to bed and I would be like, oh, this is the willpower I have. I'm gonna get through this time. I'm gonna stick with this. Or once I reach my goal, then I can go back to my old ways, because then I'll just be maintaining. That's like the psychology I had behind it. Come to find out, I would go on this cycle for years and years and years. I had really bad acne, and I believe that's what it was from. I still have a bit of acne, but right around my jawline, it was very painful. And I think that was from like the stress I was putting on my body, all of the sugar I was eating, and it just wasn't good. Like my body was constantly fluctuating because I didn't have a constant in my life. And my body image, even throughout high school, wasn't great. I just didn't feel confident about myself, and that's when I would fluctuate between my restricting and my overeating. I would try the fad diets, try to do juice cleanses, nothing worked. I tried intermittent fasting for a little bit. I stuck with that for a while, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't notice a difference either, honestly. And now recently I've become aware, I always kind of knew this actually, but I'm a stress eater. Like when I'm stressed, worried, or something's out of my control, I will eat and eat and eat, because I can't control the outcome of what I'm stressing about. So I can control my eating. I can eat and try to make myself feel better and get that dopamine rush super quickly and refuel myself. I was also under the impression that I was treating myself, that I deserved it. I had a good day, so I deserved this. Eat a whole ass pie by myself until my stomach hurts. And I just wasn't treating my body very nicely, to be honest. I never have. Recently I'm getting better at it though. But yeah, I just would overeat and eat so much until my stomach was sore and be like, oh, I'm done. Sometimes that same day I would eat again until I was sick, or the next day until I was in the same loop. I say I never had constant in my life. This has been a constant. These loops have been a constant in my life. But yeah, so I eat when I'm stressed, worried, anxious, all of that. It fills like a void in my stomach that I think needs to be filled. But what I have actually realized is that I just need to be aware of my thoughts and what I'm feeling, and to feel my feelings, and kind of not get to the root of why I'm feeling this way, but just being aware that it's an emotion I'm having. It's not a hunger that I'm having, and that food isn't going to fill that pit that I have. And that is like where it comes to not suppressing my feelings and actually acknowledging them, that they exist, that they're there, that they're their own being, kind of like they need to be acknowledged. And then I tried like intuitive eating, but then like I was a sugar addict, and I was like, you know what? My intuitive self, I want 2 Kit Kat bars and half of a pumpkin pie. That's what I'm feeling right now, so that's what I'll eat. And it was never like, oh, I need to eat this for energy to refuel myself. It was just what's quick, what's convenient, and what can I eat now that is gonna make me feel good. And I was thinking about that today. I was reheating leftovers for lunch, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like I'm eating because I'm not making my food, because I don't get that, like, what's it called when it's like the delayed gratification. I just put it in the microwave and then I get to eat it. I don't get to wait for it to being made. And I think that's when I can intuitively eat, when I'm like cooking or baking, because I have to wait for it. But when there's a cupboard full of snacks, I can just grab and grab and grab and grab and grab till my heart's content. And that's the thing with binge eating. You're never content. There's always more. And now we're here. Now I've been like made aware of it, and it's not restricting myself. It's literally cutting myself off until so I don't feed myself until I feel sick, because I know I'm not hungry. And that's like the diet culture mind to me. I'm like, oh, I'm like restricting myself, or this isn't healthy. This isn't a good relationship with food because I'm denying myself food. No, I'm not denying myself food. I'm denying myself being sick. So that's good. That is a good thing. That's healthy. And it's just, I need to stop eating. That's it. That's literally it. So now what I've been trying to do is replacing when I would binge eat with something, with a different activity, changing up the cycle, breaking the cycle of when I would get into my binges. So I've taken my TV out of my room. I no longer have a TV in my bedroom because that's the worst. That was like, once I had my TV on in bed, that was done. Like, I was getting snacks. So I don't have my TV in my room. I don't really eat in my room anymore either. Yeah, I don't really eat in there at all. Maybe the one random thing or whatever. But now what I do right before bed is I will watch my TV show downstairs, and then I'll go up to my bed with a cup of tea and a book, and I'll read in my bed and then brush my teeth and go to bed. And binges throughout the day, I did binge throughout the day, but I was definitely more of a nighttime binger. So just getting out of that habit, and you're going to make mistakes in the first time, but just acknowledging it and being aware of what you're doing, that is one step in the right direction. And that is a huge accomplishment all on its own. But throughout the day, what I would do is just not even go into that back cupboard, because in the back cupboard, there's nothing healthy back there. There's only like granola bars and snacks and things that I don't really want to be eating. So if I just don't go back there, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind for me for the most part. Making sure I have healthier options accessible and easy to get at when I am hungry. Being aware of what I'm eating, not tracking what I'm eating, but just being aware of what I have eaten today. So one thing that I was like, it's like, oh, I'll just have one chocolate. And then mindlessly, I'd be back in that same chocolate bowl like 5, 6, 7, 8 times throughout the day. But now that I'm like, no, I've already had 2 pieces of chocolate. I'm good. I've had enough. I am satisfied with what I have. Then I don't need to keep going back to it because I've had my chocolate. And just when I'm eating something like that, being aware I'm eating it and really, really taking on the whole experience. I know that sounds kind of like woohoo shit, but just really appreciating it while I'm eating it and being aware and not just shoving it in my mouth and trying to get it down as fast as possible. Actually tasting what I'm eating. That is a huge thing too. Being slower when I eat, just eating more like voluminous meals. Because that was the other thing I'd use to try to convince myself, like, oh, I'm just going to have a whole bunch of tiny meals throughout the day. That doesn't work for me because I could have 7 medium-sized portions, and that is way more than I need if I just had like 2 or 3 big portions throughout the day. Actually let my body digest my food and things like that. And just drinking a lot of water, keeping myself hydrated, because a lot of the time I think I was just thirsty and I would, whatever, eat whatever I wanted. I don't really drink pop too much, except for like if I'm going out, then I'll drink pop. Always have my water bottle full right there. That's very handy. And just being aware of what I'm eating, when I'm eating, and how I feel, because I'm sick and tired of eating until I make myself sick. That's not fun. There was something else I was going to say, but I forget what it is now. Yeah, it's hard. Making the options more limited, I think, too, is helpful. Oh, that's what I was going to say. No, it's gone. figuring out when I want to eat, what portion sizes, how often, schedules, that's really affected me too. If I have a different routine day to day to day, that kind of throws me off. I like to eat at the same time each day. Not the same things, but just mostly the same time-ish within reason. For some reason, I also have a fear of being hungry. I've realized that I'm worried I will get hungry. I don't know why. I've never gone hungry in my life before. I've always had food. I've always had great access to food. So I don't know where this deep fear of going hungry is coming from. I don't know if it's like the fear of not being able to afford food or what, but I'm just scared of being hungry. And so then if I have somewhere to go, like if I have an event later at night that I need to be out for, I will binge eat like even if we're going out for freaking dinner, I will binge eat before we leave for dinner because I'm worried of getting hungry. I don't think it's worried of getting hungry. I think it's like I'm nervous or even excited, because those feelings can be feel the same in our body, like worried, anxious, excited, happy, things like that. Those kind of trigger like the same physical feeling. So I would binge eat before I go out. Went bowling last weekend, knew we'd get food somewhere, wasn't sure exactly where, when, or how, I guess, I don't know, but I binged eat before we went bowling. Literally, my cousin was waiting for me in the driveway. This happened like 2 weeks ago. See, I'm still struggling with it. There's certain things that still trip me up. I'm not perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but my cousin was waiting for me in the driveway. I came in here, ate a piece of pizza, ate a granola bar, some chocolate, shoved it in my mouth, hardly even tasted it, and then headed out. And then within an hour, we were eating again. So yeah, that's that. I'm gonna end this video here. I know it's been extremely long, and if you have found comfort, even just someone who understands what you're going through, I hope this video is helpful for you. I am currently reading the book Turning Off the Tap. How to Turn Off the Tap. I think it's Turning Off the Tap. It's a book about overcoming overeating and dealing with overeating and like the psychological aspects of it. Highly recommend. I'm not even like halfway through yet, but it's a very great, interesting book and has really opened my eyes to it and kind of encouraged me to make this video because I felt very understood and that we're all having the same experience, essentially. But I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!